Hey kids, and welcome to the show. This is our third video on the social hierarchy based on wolfpack order, and we are going to be talking about delta males today. Before we do that, solid, click on that Scars and Stripes link and head on over, buy some coffee, help support the channel. Also, smash that like button, share, subscribe, do all that fun stuff for us and help support this channel. And now, let's get on with what we're talking about today, the delta male. I spoke about alphas, I spoke about betas. I'm skipping Charlie, and the reason I'm skipping Charlie is because Charlie is actually an insult. If you look it up, it's there's not really a social hierarchy. It's just a bad thing. So we're gonna skip over the Charlie male. If you have a different description of that, please like that in comments. But right now, Charlie is basically just someone who is just worthless in society. So it's an insult. So let's not even talk about Charlie males because we don't have Charlie males in our world. So let's go on to deltas. Deltas are the most common male in the social hierarchy. They're also the only one that can move up and down, or the one that can move up and down with ease. A delta can very easily become a beta or an alpha if they work on it. They have to desire it though. They're not the types that need it, however. Deltas, they're honest. They're the ones that show up for work. They clock in, they work really hard, and they clock out, they go home, and they do their life. They're their fathers, their dads, their husbands. They're everything. They're the backbone of society. But what happens is deltas do want to get recognition for their work. Most of the time, it's enough to get well compensated. A true delta is not going to be happy in a minimum wage job. They're not. Not because the job is important, but because their time and their energy and their efforts are important to them, and they want to be recognized. And sometimes people don't get recognized with words or with a pat on their back. They get recognized monetarily. So when someone pays you $100 for something and you do the same job for someone else and they pay you $300, you're going to want to work for the person that's paying you $300 just because your value seems to be more important. So that's where the deltas are going to be driven. They're going to be driven to the higher wage jobs that are going to provide them the ability to be comfortable and take care of themselves. They do what is expected. They're honest and loyal to a fault. You don't have to worry about that. They do want credit for their work. And here's the problem with deltas. And this is where they kind of get jacked up. And it's because they all work really well. They're typically the backbones of an organization. So there's a bunch of them working and they all do a good job. You see where I'm getting? And they want recognition. So unless you pay them well, you can't really recognize someone if they're doing a good job, but if everyone's doing 100%, you can't really go any further. And that's kind of the delta. They get to the point where they can't move forward, and then they move forward and they continue to grow. So deltas are these men that continue to grow. They're not happy with where they're at. Sometimes they get sad. So like I said, they can move down in the social hierarchy, but they can also move up. Deltas are super, super important. They don't value leadership. They don't want to be leaders. They don't mind being the leaders, but they don't want it. They don't desire it. Like a beta wants the leadership title. The delta doesn't. They're just like, let's just do this. So they can make decisions, but it's based on, I want to get this done and I want to get it done properly and effectively. And I want to go home and live my life because my job is not tied to my life and my happiness. Delta men are typically the gray men. Gray men in society, it's a prepper term that means someone that's not noticed. It's not because they're ugly or anything else. They're the average Joe. They're the gray man. They can walk through a crowd, and unless you know they're there, you're not going to know they're there. They can just move through society very easily, which means they don't get noticed as much. But again, they can move up. They can become beta males. They can become alpha males. They can do all that stuff. They do work well with others, but again, they work with people that are also competent. Deltas are not the kind of people that you're going to see doing minimum wage jobs. Like I said, they're going to be the middle management for sure, and upper management, because they're going to continue to, get promotions, and that's how they feel things are going well. They're basically the average person. Well, there's delta females, and they're super important. Again, I'm not talking about females, but the problem with delta females is they are typically attracted to alphas and betas. So deltas typically are a stopping zone, is what one person describes it as. So let's say you don't know where you're going to go. So you can go kind of and be a delta and kind of just find yourself. And then you can move up and down into the social hierarchy. So that's it. That's a delta. And deltas seem pretty nice. Like I said, they're the backbones. They're the ones that run the business. They're the ones that show up on time. They're the ones you can rely on. They're the ones that are honest. There's some pretty cool people that are deltas. And again, deltas are the ones that are continuing to grow. They're continuing to move the goalposts for themselves, not for other people. When they get to the point where they're no longer getting compensated for what they like, they're going to move forward. It's a good person to have in your corner. And again, trustworthy, loyal, honest, hardworking. I don't know. I still have a few more to talk about, but that's the delta man and dad's opinion. They're the person you can rely on. They're the person you're not always going to notice, but they may be the smartest and most competent person in the room. So until next time, work hard, be kind, and have fun.